charcoal and making drawings are one of the most prominent ways in which she expresses herself. But using infographics, which is what she's using here, comes from W.E.B. Du Bois, who, after the Civil War, put out a publication about African Americans, whether they owned farms or they owned apartments or they had education, and they were illustrated with beautiful infographics, which she saw. She saw the book. And so she decided to use them. And this is degrees of my deaf rage in the art world. She is an artist. And so this is really about what she has experienced as a deaf person, her BARD MFA. It was a very, very difficult experience because everyone else was hearing, and they often objected to the fact that they'd have to wait for an interpreter. And so she was not always on a friendly basis with her fellow classmates because of these, what they saw as interferences. So legit rage, that's the right angle. Guggenheim Accessibility Manager. So she went to the Guggenheim and she must have had a problem with the accessibility manager there, and that's acute rage. The Rijksmuseum in Amsterdam, the front desk manager probably didn't understand that she was looking for the toilet, and that was straight up rage. Or curators who think it's fair to split my fee with interpreters. In other words, the museum hires me to do a lecture and they give me $100. They expect that I will pay the interpreter as opposed to the museum, which invited me. These are all experiences that she has had. I will say, though, that the Whitney Museum smells like roses because we hired her in about 2010-11 when she was a graduate student. And she actually started a program here for interpreters, for deaf educators, and so the Whitney has always, this exhibition, for example, there are interpreters who will come and work with groups of people who are deaf.
I wish she has an updated brand.
She probably needs one. She does. Degrees of deaf rage within educational settings. This black full-on rage. The Milan Conference of 1880. In 1880, there was a conference of educators who work with the deaf from all over the world, Milan, Italy. And they made the decision that sign language was not appropriate, was not good, that if you were deaf, you should lip read. And it put the education of people who are deaf back by truly about 100 years. So this full-on rage. And if you look at these as you read them and there's one message there, they're also, I think, very beautiful. The degree to which she gets that blackness using the charcoal, the smudge, the idea that you see her hand. You feel that she is a part of the making of this. And this is really kind of unbelievable. I'm editorializing here, giving my opinion. Degrees of deaf rage while traveling. Getting hit in the head with a bag of peanuts by a flight attendant who tries to get our attention. Could you imagine, you were sitting in your seat, the flight attendant knows that you're deaf, but instead of just tapping, or she hits you, or he hits you in the head with a bag of peanuts. I mean, that is kind of outrageous. there's being offered a wheelchair at the arrival gate. Because you're deaf, you must therefore need a wheelchair. Or being given a braille menu at a restaurant. You're deaf, therefore you cannot see. So these are all microaggressions that lead to rage, to full-on anger, and that's what she's expressing, but with a great deal of humor. Yes, in a way we're being hit over the head with it, but at the same time, it's a very authentic voice, and it's a voice where she accepts how naive the rest of the world is, and hoping that there is something that we learn about interacting with people who are deaf. She often works in a series, so these 6 drawings were all, as I said, in the Whitney Biennial. There's another group of drawings called Future Base around the corner.